She laughed in my face when I begged her to let our kids see my dying mother. That laugh cost me everything, my freedom and my mom's last moments, but I made sure it cost her everything she had left. You know, they say revenge is a dish best served cold, but in my case, it was served with absolute devastation. Let me tell you how I lost it all, and exactly how I took it back. It started with lies. Pure, twisted lies. My ex-wife, Laura, falsely reported me for violence. She didn't stop there. She manipulated her own sister into testifying against me. The result? A restraining order, and she got full custody of our children. That was already a gut punch, a hard blow to take. But life decided to deliver the knockout blow right after. My mother, my rock, was diagnosed with terminal cancer. The doctors gave her 3 months. 3 months to live. Her only dying wish was to see her grandkids one last time. She just wanted to hold them before she went. I was desperate. So I did the only thing a son could do. I violated the restraining order. I called Laura. I didn't threaten her. I pleaded. I promised I wouldn't even be in the room. I said, "Laura, please. Just let them see their dying grandmother. That's all I ask." And that's when she laughed. She actually laughed at me. She said, "Not only will I not let them visit, but I won't even bring them to the funeral." Then, she hung up and called the police. I was arrested for violating the order. In court, the judge looked at me with pity. He said he understood why I did it, but the law is the black and white. He sentenced me to 4 months in jail. While I was rotting in that cell, my mother passed away. I never got to say goodbye. I never got to hold her hand. She died alone because of Laura's cruelty. When I finally walked out of jail, the man who went in was dead. The grief I felt, it was gone. It was replaced by a cold, hollow anger. I didn't care about right or wrong anymore. I had one goal: to hurt Laura the way she had hurt me. I knew I couldn't go near her, not physically, but that didn't mean I couldn't burn her life to the ground from a distance. I had nothing. No one to turn to. My family had written me off long before I got locked up. They didn't even call when Mom died. I was completely alone. I had no job, no money, no home, just a criminal record and a heart full of hate. I scraped together what little cash I had and rented a rundown apartment on the edge of town. It was a dump, leaking ceiling, heating that barely wheezed, but it was a roof. I remember spending that first night lying on the floor, staring at the cracks in the ceiling, wondering how my life had come to this. The next day, the grind began. I needed money to survive, but more importantly, I needed resources to destroy her. Finding a job with a record is a nightmare. I spent hours filling out applications, watching the manager's eyes gloss over as soon as they saw the gap in my employment. Finally, a convenience store was desperate enough to hire me. Minimum wage, ringing up smokes and lottery tickets, dealing with drunks and junkies. It was mind-numbing. But every night, while I was dragging myself back to that freezing apartment, I wasn't thinking about the misery. I was thinking about Laura. I was thinking about how she was out there, living comfortably, probably sleeping soundly. Once I had a little money saved and stabilized my situation, the plan went into effect. Step 1, her job. I did some digging and found out she was managing a cute little boutique downtown. Nice job. Comfortable. It would be a real shame if she lost it. I bought a jaggedy old computer from a pawn shop and went to work. I sat there for hours creating fake online profiles. I didn't just throw them together, I crafted them. I gave them names, backstories, hobbies. I became the picky middle-aged woman who loves floral patterns but hates rude service. I became the tech-savvy young guy with a short temper. I became the grumpy army veteran whose opinion carries weight. Then I started writing the reviews. I could feel my blood boiling as I typed. The thought of Laura sitting pretty while my mom was in a grave drove me. I made up stories about her snapping at customers, insulting people under her breath, making the store feel unwelcoming. I posted them slowly, consistently, day after day. Eventually, the complaints piled up. The owner couldn't ignore the tanking rating. She launched an investigation. Laura denied it, of course, because she hadn't actually done anything at work. But the damage was done. The owner couldn't risk the bad PR. I found out through a friend that Laura was fired. I felt a sick, twisted sense of satisfaction. She took my mom's last wish. I took her paycheck. But I wasn't done. Not even close. Step 2, the house. It was the house we had bought together back when things were good. I started digging through public records, looking for a weakness. And I found it. She was behind on her property taxes. Not a massive amount, but enough to cause trouble if the right people noticed. So I made sure they noticed. I acted like a concerned neighbor and sent an anonymous tip to the city, claiming the house looked abandoned and poorly maintained. That triggered an inspection. They found code violations. Then I played my ace. I reached out to an old high school buddy who worked as a code enforcement officer. We hadn't talked in years, but I greased the wheels, slipped him a bribe to expedite the process. Between the unpaid taxes and the violations, the city came down hard. She was hit with an eviction notice. I imagined her panic. Jobless. And now about to be homeless. Everything was falling into place. Step 3. The kids. Laura was on the ropes. She had no income and nowhere to live. It was time for the final blow. I couldn't contact her directly because of the restraining order, so I used my sister as a go-between. My sister was hesitant, but I convinced her I was doing this for the children. I hired a shark of a lawyer. We walked into family court with a clear narrative. I was the reformed father. I had a stable job. I had a home. Laura? She was unstable, unemployed, and evicted. The courtroom was tense. Laura looked wrecked, worn out, desperate. She tried to give the judge every sob story in the book. She cried about losing her job, about the eviction, trying to paint me as the villain who orchestrated it all. But I kept my cool. I didn't say a word. The judge looked at the facts. He didn't care about her excuses. He cared that she couldn't put a roof over my children's heads. He granted me full custody. I watched her crumble right there in the courtroom, seeing her break. I admit, part of me felt empty, but watching her lose everything the way I had, it felt damn good. However, the reality of having the kids back hit me hard. The first few weeks were strange. Emily and Jacob were distant. They missed their mom. They kept asking about her. And looking at their sad faces, I realized something important. If I kept them away from her completely, I would be doing exactly what she did to me and my mother. I would be the monster. And I didn't want to hate myself. So I swallowed my pride. I had my sister reach out to Laura with a proposal. The kids could visit her on weekends. We reached a middle ground. I don't talk to her much, just a nod when I drop them off, and I have no interest in ever forgiving her. But my kids love their mom, and for their sake, I chose peace over total destruction. I ruined her life to save my own, and I ended up with my kids back. But sometimes I sit there and wonder, did I take it too far, or did she get exactly what she deserved for what she did to my mother? Tell me what you think. I really want to know.